Hi, I'm Jennifer Kuhns, and this is Mosaic Arts Online. I'm teaching precision cutting stained glass for Mosaic, and we'll be making a glass-on-glass sun catcher project with a colorful design. I'll start by telling you about scoring tools, including how to add glass cutter oil and the different types of scorers that are available. Then we'll go over support tools like running pliers and breaker-grosser pliers, and I'll tell you how to use them. I'll share my experience with different clear adhesives, and we'll explain why I like to use liquid nails for clear projects. Glass cutting instruction will begin with simple straight cuts and mild curves, and with each segment I'll demonstrate how to cut more complex shapes from alternating curves to deeper curves, crescents, and circles. After focusing on how to cut various shapes, I walk you through the project, which is this butterfly sun catcher where all of the lines of the template are grout lines and each piece is cut in one solid piece. I'll show you tricks for tracing the exact shape onto your glass so that it fits together perfectly, and how to apply adhesive so that there are no bubbles or grout bleed. And I'll share my tips for working clean without getting glue on your fingers and the surface of your glass. Next, I'll show my grouting process using sanded grout and a spatula. In a bonus section, I'll demonstrate cutting really challenging types of glass, and in a second bonus section, I'll show you how I make repeating shapes like petals and leaves. Throughout the video, I'll talk through my process and I'll give you as much information as possible. You'll get PDFs with the butterfly pattern and a couple of extra designs so that you can continue practicing, plus additional information regarding types of glass and how to source materials. If you've been cutting glass at a basic level and would like to learn to create more complicated shapes by hand, this workshop will give you the instruction you need. But even if you've never cut glass before, you'll get some skills to get you started, and you can keep returning to the video to build on those skills over time. Now let's get started.
Jennifer, thank you so much for coming to Mosaic Arts Online. I am so excited for this online course, and you are the precision cutting mosaic artist. So we are thrilled that you were able to do this course.
Thank you. It's really fun to be here. It's really exciting.
Awesome. So start with telling everybody how you got started as an artist, as a mosaic artist kind of. I know you have kind of a funky path, but let's get a little bit of that background.
I had been working as a recycled artist, as a hobby. I'd been working at a job, but I would go to art festivals, just specifically recycled art festivals and shows, and just make things out of things I found, including sometimes, you know, tile objects. So it was a good fit when there was a repair in my bathroom where I was living. My landlord asked if I could make it look nicer by busting up some tiles and doing some mosaic around it. So I had so much fun doing that. I started doing more and more things like mirror frames and just gluing tile onto things. But the tile that I had available was, the palette was limited, and my skills were very limited. And I was still learning when I was given a box of stained glass.
And that was the beginning of...
It was bright and it was colorful and a little thinner, a little easier to work with.
Right.
And so I really became more interested in mosaic.
Oh, that's awesome. And the variety of glass, you know, color and all that.
The texture and opalescence and iridescence.
So you are self-taught that way. And so if you are a beginner, what's the beauty in working with stained glass for mosaic artists? They can catch on quite quickly. So give me a little bit of how you can guide someone just getting started, because this course is great for a beginner.
Well, if you've got those basic cutting skills, you can take that anywhere. You can use it just to cut strips so that you can nip out your squares to use for different kinds of ondamento. You can cut long strips, so even with just the basic skills, even being able to cut off a working piece of glass that's small enough to work with without having to nip it, where you, it's really scary to nip a piece of sheet glass and just have shards everywhere.
Right.
A lot of the students who come to my classes, that's all they've done, and they're a little intimidated by glass because of that experience. So
now that you're more of an established mosaic artist and a teacher, your background has become more advanced and stuff like this. But what are some of the highlights of teaching your students?
I really have fun seeing the students come to class with no idea the shapes that they could cut out of glass. So they're often a little scared of glass, so even for some, just that first time they score and break a piece and they realize this is so easy, that's exciting. But then seeing people who cut their first circle or their first crescent shape, like a really deep curve that can fit perfectly into a spot, they are overjoyed, and that's really fun.
Well, and I mean, it's awesome. I have been a mosaic artist for a long time as well, and have worked in stained glass a lot. And Jennifer does not need to use the grinder. And that's an amazing talent that you
I don't own a grinder.
Teach how to cut these shapes. No grinder. And this is incredible what she has created in just a couple of our samples here with no grinder. So I think that's something to be said for how great you are at teaching this technique and all the tools. So why would a mosaic artist want to cut these precision shapes when they could use a nipper and grinder and stuff like that? Explain how great it is to get the freedom when you can create like this.
Well, for one, this style of mosaic, you may have heard of the ondimento called opus sectile. So there is some history of using these straight up shapes instead of cutting lots of little shapes to fill a space. I love it because I like the kind of bold designs I can get. I love folk art, and it really feels like folk art, or I can make really stylized designs by using these big shapes and alternating and contrasting colors. And so for me, it's just a really appealing design style. I can also use it in a more traditional mosaic by creating these focal points. I could cut a flower out and have it be a recognizable or bold shape. There are ways that you can use those custom shapes to bring something forward.
Right.
And then fill the background with other kinds of ondimento. And that's fun, to just mix it up a little bit. And I think the thing that I really love is that if I have a big project but a short timeline, maybe a smaller budget, I can use this style to speed up my process, and it goes really fast because your pieces are so much bigger.
Right.
And you're custom cutting rather than trying to find everything to fit.
No, it's great. And you can learn to do this on glass, just like this clear piece of glass like she mentions in the intro, or a substrate. This is just a solid substrate, so that you can do this style on either one. And it's not that we want to knock the grinder, but if you do want to learn how to cut these things and you don't own a grinder, or you've been confused by your grinder, there is no better course or way to learn how to use these tools properly and how to really create a mosaic for someone that is just starting out, or someone that wants to better their cutting skills and has been creating for some time now. So I can't thank you enough for coming, and I just think it's a great course, and I'm just really excited you are here to do it.
Thanks so much. I'm really excited to share this information with your students.
Or your students.
With our students.
With our students. Thank you so much.